Needless to say, that song stayed in the show. So I do need to go just a little bit further back to get really to where all this started for me. I have to go all the way back to my good buddy Carl Ritchie. Carl and I met when we were only 16 years old, and we were both going to boarding school in the foothills of the Himalayan mountain range of northern India. It's a very long story, which I am not going to tell right now. Anyway, we discovered we had a mutual love of theater, and we became best buddies. After high school, Carl went off to theater school in London. I went off to theater school in Boston, but we wound up back in Toronto to begin our careers, and we were roommates while we were each looking for our husbands. And while we were looking for those guys, we decided we wanted to do a review of Noel Coward and Cole Porter music, and Carl would write the connecting patter, the witty banter for our characters. Now, like a lot of really talented writers, Carl can be a wee bit lazy. And so what I used to do was every day I would come in and I would say, okay, so today, Carl, we have to get from I Hate Men to Don't Put Your Daughter on the Stage, Mrs. Worthington, and we can devote about a minute and a half of stage time to that, and we have to cover this part of our character arc. And then I would lock him in his bedroom and not let him out until he'd written that section of patter. That's how we got the show done. Now, I had not at that time yet heard the word dramaturge, but when we were performing that show, which we did successfully for many weeks in Toronto, the program said, music and lyrics by Noel Coward and Cole Porter, dialogue by Carl Ritchie, pestered by Elise Dewsbury. Yes, and I'm sure that many of you in this room who've been dramaturged by me would agree that pestered is a perfectly good synonym. So anyway, Carl and I went on to do many, many, many things together. Carl even wrote a producer project for us for the Broadway Rose Theatre with collaborator Chuck Pelletier called Sour Grapes, which he wound up producing at his own theater that he was artistic director of in upstate New York, where he lives now. But the big one, really, was that Carl wrote the book and lyrics for the one-woman, four-character musical about pregnancy, 9 months, that I toured across Canada as a full-time job for over 8 years. So I owe Carl a lot. On the other hand, I did pay him plenty of royalties during that 8 years, so I think it's probably even. Anyway, Carl knows me better than probably anybody else on the planet, and so he decided to share some of what he knows about me by creating a new set of lyrics for a tune that I think you're all probably going to recognize.